You ever have one of those nights where you look around at the world you've built and realize it's just empty? I'm talking about the kind of emptiness that money can't fix, the kind that echoes even when you're standing in a room full of people drinking champagne that costs more than a Honda Civic. That was Victoria Sterling's life every single day. We're talking about a woman who ran Sterling Global, a tech empire in Chicago that basically owned the city's skyline. They called her the Iron Duchess in the tabloids because she never smiled, never panicked, and definitely never let anyone in. At 34, she was sitting on a fortune that could buy small countries, but she spent her Friday nights checking encryption codes on her phone while eating takeout, in a penthouse that felt more like a museum than a home. But this story isn't really about her money. It's about the night the Iron Duchess finally melted, and it all started at the Sterling Christmas Gala, the kind of party where the air conditioning smells like expensive perfume and judgment. Outside, Chicago was being buried under a foot of snow, the wind howling off the lake, but inside the Obsidian Tower, it was warm, golden, and completely fake. Down on the floor, dodging the elbows of hedge fund managers and senators, was Leo Mathis. Now Leo wasn't part of this world. He was a guy with calloused hands and a suit that didn't quite fit right because he bought it at a thrift store 3 years ago. He was 37, a former systems engineer who lost his career when his wife got sick and the medical bills ate everything: savings, the house, the car, the dream. After she passed, he took whatever work he could get to support his daughter Chloe. So tonight, he wasn't an engineer. He was a server, holding a tray of hors d'oeuvres, invisible to the people he was serving. And Chloe? She was sitting in the coat check room on a little folding chair, hidden behind a rack of mink coats. She's 9 years old, with messy pigtails and eyes that see things most adults miss. While other kids her age were watching cartoons, Chloe was reading manuals on biometric security systems. She was a little genius, wired differently, always taking things apart to see how they worked because in her mind, if you could understand how something was built, you couldn't be scared of it. Leo couldn't afford a babysitter that night, so he told her, "Stay here, read your book, and don't make a sound." The night was going fine until around 10 o'clock. Leo was circulating near the VIP section when he accidentally bumped into Marcus Thorne. Now you have to understand Marcus. He was Victoria's CFO, the guy waiting for her to slip up so he could steal the throne. He was slick, handsome in a reptile kind of way, and mean. Leo bumped him, spilled maybe 3 drops of sparkling water on Marcus's sleeve, and Marcus just unleashed. He didn't just yell. He dissected Leo. He called him clumsy, useless, a bottom feeder who shouldn't be allowed to breathe the same filtered air as the elite. The whole room went quiet. It was that awkward, painful silence where you can hear a pin drop. Leo just stood there, head down, taking it, because he couldn't lose this job. He had rent due in 3 days. But Victoria Sterling saw it. She was standing by the fireplace, watching Marcus bully a man who couldn't fight back, and something in her snapped. She hated bullies. She hated the entitlement. She walked over, her heels clicking on the marble like gunshots. She looked at Marcus and said, "You're done talking." Then she turned to Leo. She saw the shame in his eyes, but she also saw a weird kind of dignity, like he was a king disguised as a pauper. She wanted to lift him up, to slam Marcus down, so she did the most reckless thing imaginable. She pointed to the massive steel vault door behind her desk, the Titan safe, the company's uncrackable prototype that held the master drive for their new AI project. She said, loud enough for the whole room to hear, "You think you're better than him, Marcus? This man probably works harder in a day than you do in a year." Then she looked at Leo, a smirk playing on her lips, and said, "Tell you what, you open that safe in my office, and I'll marry you. Hell, I'll give you half my shares." It was a joke, a dark, sarcastic joke to mock the impossible security of her own product. and to belittle Marcus's arrogance. The room chuckled nervously. Leo turned red, mumbled an apology, and walked away. The moment passed. The rich people went back to their drinks, but Chloe heard it. She had crept out of the coat check to see if her dad was okay, and she heard the lady in the green dress make the offer. She watched her dad walk away looking defeated, and her little heart broke. She didn't understand sarcasm. She understood logic. Lady said, "Open safe equals dad gets respect. Dad gets money. Dad gets happy." So, while the gala moved on, Chloe slipped into Victoria's office. It was empty. The Titan safe was there, looking like a beast of chrome and digital keypads. It had a biometric scanner, a voice recognition lock, and a rolling code key. Impossible, right? 20 minutes later, the music in the ballroom stopped because a siren started wailing. Not a fire alarm, the security breach siren. Red lights started flashing. Victoria's security team, guys built like vending machines, drew their weapons and ran toward the office. Victoria followed them, heart pounding, thinking it was corporate espionage. Marcus was right behind her, ready to blame her for the security failure. They burst into the office and froze. The Titan safe wasn't blown open. It wasn't drilled. It was just open. The heavy steel door was swung wide, revealing the confidential drives inside. And sitting in Victoria's executive leather chair, spinning around in circles, was Chloe. She was eating a canape she'd swiped from her dad's tray. Leo pushed through the crowd, saw his daughter, and nearly fainted. "Chloe, oh my God, what did you do?" Victoria stared at the child. "How?" she whispered. "That safe is rated for nuclear impact. It has a triple-blind entry protocol." "How?" Chloe stopped spinning the chair. She looked at Victoria with these big, innocent eyes and pulled a roll of Scotch tape and a gummy bear out of her pocket. She said, "It was easy. I saw you put your wine glass down on the coaster earlier. I used the tape to lift your thumbprint from the glass. It's not perfect, but the scanner has a 5% margin of error for sweat. So I doubled the tape layer to trick the depth sensor." The head of security dropped his jaw. "Then," Chloe continued, pointing to the keypad, "I looked at the wear patterns on the numbers. You use a 4-digit code. The numbers 1, 9, 8, and 4 are worn down more than the others. 1984. It's the title of the book on your shelf. Too obvious. And the voice lock?" Marcus demanded, stepping forward. "It requires a specific frequency." "YouTube," Chloe shrugged. "I found an interview of you online. I used a soundboard app on my dad's phone to chop up your words until I had access granted. The speakers on the phone are tinny. So I put it inside a paper cup to boost the bass. Physics." The room was dead silent. A 9-year-old girl, using the gummy bear, Scotch tape, and a paper cup, had just dismantled a billion-dollar security system. Leo grabbed Chloe, hugging her tight, terrified. "I'm so sorry, Ms. Sterling. She's just curious. We'll leave. We'll never come back." But Marcus Thorne saw an opportunity. He stepped forward, his face twisted in a sneer. "Curious? No, this is industrial espionage. Look at the father. He's a failed engineer. He trained her. They're grifters, Victoria. They came here to steal the prototype." "No," Leo shouted. "I didn't know she was doing this." "Call the police," Marcus ordered the guards. "I want them arrested for grand larceny and corporate theft. And leak the video to the press. Let everyone know Sterling Security was compromised by a waiter and his brat." Victoria tried to intervene, but the momentum was against her. The police arrived. They handcuffed Leo in front of his crying daughter. The cameras flashed. It was a nightmare. Within an hour, it was on the news. The grifter family. Waiter uses child to rob tech giant. Leo was thrown in a holding cell. Chloe was handed over to Child Protective Services for the night. And Victoria sat alone in her penthouse, watching the snow fall, feeling sicker than she had ever felt in her life. She looked at the replay of the security footage, not the crime, but the moment before, when Leo had hugged Chloe. The fear in his eyes wasn't a criminal's fear. It was a father's fear. She realized Marcus was playing her. He was using this to destroy her company's reputation so the stock would tank and he could buy it up cheap. And he was destroying an innocent family to do it. The next morning, Victoria did something she had never done. She went to the police station. She posted Leo's bail $50,000 cash. Then she went to CPS and with a team of lawyers that cost more than the building, got emergency temporary custody of Chloe, claiming she was a family friend and the incident was a misunderstanding. She brought them both to her penthouse. Leo was in shock. He stood in the entryway of this massive cold apartment, holding Chloe's hand. "Why are you doing this?" he asked, suspicious. "You're the one who pressed charges." "Marcus pressed charges," Victoria said, taking off her coat. "I'm the one dropping them. But until the press dies down and I can prove Marcus is manipulating the board, you can't go home. Reporters are camped out on your lawn. You stay here. Consider it. House arrest, but with a better view." So began the weirdest week of their lives. You have the ice queen, the struggling dad, and the genius kid stuck in a glass tower. At first, it was awkward. Victoria didn't know how to talk to people who weren't employees. She hid in her office. Leo tried to stay out of the way, terrified he'd break a vase worth more than his life. But Chloe didn't care about the tension. She found Victoria's server room and started asking questions about the cooling systems. The thaw happened in the kitchen. On the third night, Victoria came out at 2 a.m., unable to sleep, and found Leo making grilled cheese sandwiches. The smell of butter and toasted bread filled the sterile kitchen. "I couldn't sleep," Leo said, holding up a spatula. "Nervous energy. You want one?" Victoria hadn't eaten a grilled cheese since she was 7. She sat at the island. They started talking. Not about the case, but about life. Leo talked about his wife, about how much he missed her, about how hard it was to raise a genius kid on a waiter's salary. He didn't complain. He just stated facts. "I used to build systems like yours," he said quietly. "Before the medical bills. I know how the code works. I know how the world works. It's just, once you fall off the ladder, Miss Sterling, they grease the rung so you can't climb back up." Victoria looked at him, really looked at him. She saw the kindness in his face. She realized that despite everything, he wasn't angry at the world. He was just trying to protect his little girl. "Call me Victoria," she whispered. Over the next few days, the dynamic shifted. Leo fixed the leaky faucet in the guest bathroom that 5 plumbers couldn't figure out. Chloe reorganized Victoria's digital filing system because it was messy. Victoria started coming home early just to hear them laughing in the living room. For the first time, her house felt like a home. She realized she wasn't just protecting them. She was needing them, but the storm was coming. Marcus Thorne wasn't done. Marcus Thorne knew that as long as Leo and Chloe were free, his narrative about the evil grifters was weak. He needed a conviction to tank the stock and force the board to oust Victoria. So he escalated. He doctored security footage from the night of the party. He hired a digital expert to edit the video, making it look like Leo was giving Chloe hand signals, guiding her, proving conspiracy. He leaked it to the board of directors. Victoria got the call on a Tuesday morning. "Emergency meeting," her secretary said. "They're voting to remove you as CEO. Marcus has proof of your complicity with the criminals." Victoria hung up the phone, her hand shaking. She looked at Leo and Chloe, who were building a Lego castle on the living room rug. If she lost the company, she lost the power to protect them. Marcus would send Leo to prison for 20 years. "We have to run," Victoria said, walking into the living room, pale as a sheet. "They're coming for us." Double quotes. Leo stood up. "Who?" "Marcus." "The board, everyone." She explained the fake video. "They're going to say I hired you to fake the break-in so I could claim insurance fraud. It's a lie, but it's a good one." Chloe looked up from her Legos. "Is the video digital?" "Yes," Victoria said. "Then it has metadata," Chloe said matter-of-factly. "And if they edited it, there will be artifacts in the pixel rendering. But we need the original file to prove it." "The original is on Marcus's private server," Victoria said. "In the building, which I'm now locked out of." Leo walked over to the window, looking at the obsidian tower across the city. He turned back, and there was a shift in his posture. He wasn't the waiter anymore. He was the engineer. "The server room," Leo said. "Is it on the 40th floor? Northwest corner?" "That's where the cooling intake usually is for buildings that size." Victoria nodded. "Yes. How did you know?" "I didn't just serve drinks." Leo smiled, a tight, dangerous smile. "I read the blueprints of every building I worked in. It's a habit. If we can get into the maintenance shaft, I can bypass the electronic locks manually. I don't need a keycard. I need a wrench. You want to break into my building?" Victoria asked. "Technically," Leo grinned, "you're the owner, so it's just extreme maintenance. And if we don't, I go to jail and you lose everything. So are we doing this?" Victoria looked at this man, this waiter who was ready to risk his freedom for her. And she fell hard. "Let's go," she said. The heist was sloppy, terrifying, and brilliant. They left Chloe in the car with a laptop. She was mission control. Victoria and Leo sneaked in through the loading dock. Leo moved with a surprising grace, dodging security patrols, hot wiring the service elevator. They got to the 40th floor, sweating, adrenaline pumping. When they reached the server room, Leo went to work. He didn't hack the computer, he hacked the hardware. He pulled panels off the wall, rewiring the physical connections to bypass Marcus's firewall. "I'm creating a bridge," he grunted, sparks flying. "Chloe, are you seeing the stream?" In the car, Chloe typed furiously. "Got it, Dad. I'm mirroring the drive." "Okay, I see the folder labeled Evidence. Downloading." "Wait, there's more." "What is it?" Victoria asked, holding the flashlight for Leo. "Emails," Chloe said. "Thousands of them. Marcus isn't just framing Dad. He's been skimming money from the pension fund for 5 years. He's stealing from the employees. That son of a..." Leo muttered. "Got it. Download complete." Just then, the door burst open. Security. Marcus had anticipated they might try something. 3 guards wrestled Leo to the ground. Victoria screamed. Marcus walked in, slow and clapping. "Bravo," Marcus sneered. "Trespassing. Destruction of property. You just handed me everything I need, Victoria." They were dragged to the boardroom on the top floor. The board members were already there, sitting around the long mahogany table, looking grim. Marcus threw Leo into a chair and stood over Victoria. "Ladies and gentlemen of the board," Marcus announced. "I caught them destroying evidence. The CEO and her lover." It looked over. Leo was bruised. Victoria was disheveled. But then, the main projector screen behind Marcus flickered to life. "Hello?" A small voice echoed through the room. It was Chloe. She had hacked the boardroom, a V-system from the car. "Get that off." Marcus yelled. "You might want to watch this," Chloe's voice said. On the screen, the real security footage played. It showed Marcus sitting with the digital editor, pointing at the screen saying, "Make the waiter look suspicious." Frame by frame. Then the emails appeared. Spreadsheets showing millions of dollars siphoned into Marcus's offshore accounts. The pension funds of the janitors, the secretaries, the security guards stolen. The room went silent. The board members looked at Marcus. The security guards, realizing Marcus had stolen their retirement money, slowly let go of Leo. "You're fired, Marcus," the chairman of the board said, standing up. "And I believe the police are already in the lobby." Marcus tried to run, but Leo bruised, tired Leo simply stuck his foot out. Marcus tripped, face-planting into the carpet. "Watch your step," Leo said. "Dexterity is important." The aftermath was chaos, but the good kind. Marcus went to prison. The stock rebounded. But the real story happened a week later. Victoria was back in her office, but something had changed. The Titan safe was gone. She had it removed. She replaced it with a simple bookshelf. She drove to the little diner where Leo had picked up his old shifts. She walked in, wearing jeans and a sweater, no armor, no power suit. The bell chimed. Leo looked up from the counter, a pot of coffee in his hand. The place went quiet. Everyone knew who she was now. She sat at the counter. "Coffee," she said. "Black." Leo poured it, his hand trembling just a little. "You shouldn't be here, Victoria. People will talk." "Let them talk," she said. She reached into her purse and pulled out a small velvet box. She slid it across the counter. Leo stared at it. "What is this?" "I made a bet," Victoria said, her voice shaking. "I said if you opened the safe, I'd marry you. I'm a woman of my word, Leo." Leo laughed, a soft disbelief-filled sound. "Victoria, that was a joke. You're a billionaire. I'm me. I can't give you anything." "You gave me a home," she said, tears forming in her eyes. "For 3 days you gave me a home. You gave me safety. You gave me the truth. I have billions of dollars, Leo, and I have never been as rich as I was sitting in my kitchen eating grilled cheese with you and Chloe." She reached out and took his hand. "I don't need a security guard. I need a partner. I need someone who knows how to fix things when they break. And you fix everything." Leo looked at Chloe, who was sitting in a booth doing her homework. Chloe looked up, smiled, and gave a thumbs up. Leo looked back at Victoria. "I come with a lot of baggage. And a kid who hacks federal databases for fun." "I'm counting on it," Victoria smiled. Leo opened the box. It wasn't a diamond ring. It was a simple key. "What's this?" "The key to my front door," Victoria said. "The electronic lock is gone. This is a real key. For real people." "Well," Leo said, untying his apron, "I guess I quit." They didn't get married right away. They dated. They went to movies. Victoria learned how to cook badly. Leo went back to school and became the head of innovation at Sterling Global, where he designed systems that protected people instead of just money. Chloe, she's running the intern program now. She's 10. And every Christmas, at the gala, they don't have a safe. They have a donation box for the city's education fund. And if you look closely, you'll see the CEO and her husband standing by the door. Not in the VIP section, but greeting people. Shaking hands, because they know something the rest of the room doesn't. They know that the most valuable things in life aren't what you lock up. They're what you open up to. So, here's my question to you guys. In a world that tells us to build walls and trust no one, would you have the guts to do what Victoria did? Would you risk it all for a stranger just because you saw a spark of decency? Or would you have played it safe? Let me know in the comments below, and if you ever see a "Do Not Touch" sign, maybe, just maybe, ask yourself who put it there.